Since I entered Congress, my top priorities for highway infrastructure development include I-87, I-587, and I-42. These require federal funding and will help transform eastern North Carolina and prepare one of our nation's most economically distressed areas for a brighter and more prosperous future. I want to work with this committee to accomplish this and put the American dream back within reach for our families. Much of eastern North Carolina is rural and has significant infrastructure needs. Broadband will significantly enhance the lives of families and businesses across eastern North Carolina while also ensuring our healthcare system can continue operating. We cannot have a situation where our emergency services, first responders, and telecommunicators cannot contact each other due to a lack of broadband service on rural roads. I strongly desire to work with this committee to find ways to expand rural access and ensure rural infrastructure projects factor in broadband needs in our local communities. An essential part of that deployment is ensuring that economic development grants are usable for those needs. Further, our local mayors and county officials need to be able to access these funds by simplifying the burdensome, overly complicated application process. And we must also not lose sight of an opportunity to take care of our United States Coast Guard. Spanning the jurisdiction of 3 committees, the Coast Guard is a vital armed force that supports our armed services in safeguarding our national security and performing essential search and rescue operations. North Carolina's 1st Congressional District is home of United States Coast Guard Base Elizabeth City, an installation that hosts an aviation logistics and technical training center along with over 2,000 active duty and civilian personnel. While towns and cities hosting installations all thrive to provide most welcoming environments for our Coast Guard personnel, only a select few have been named a Great American Defense Community, and that's including Elizabeth City, which earned the title in 2024. But we cannot rest on our laurels. Infrastructure at Coast Guard Base, Elizabeth City, and other installations is aging, which is why I supported the work of this committee to help pass the Coast Guard Reauthorization Act of 2025, which funds Coast Guard operations and makes critical investments in U.S. build requirements, helping to bolster our domestic shipbuilding industry, an essential part of northeastern North Carolina's economy. The legislation also includes a study on Coast Guard training facility infrastructure, including the training center at Coast Guard Base Elizabeth City to ensure that shoreside and land-based facilities are meeting high standards. Beyond addressing top priorities for our Coast Guard, other significant issues for eastern North Carolina include hurricanes, tropical storms, and flooding. I last testified before this committee for its Members' Day here on April 18, 2023. Since then, North Carolina has experienced destructive impacts of Hurricane Helene, as you heard from my colleague earlier. We saw devastation across western North Carolina communities, homes, businesses, roads, and more washed away in the blink of an eye. We still have a long way to go in rebuilding after the hurricane, but North Carolinians have rebuilt before and will do it again. Hurricane Helene and the aftermath showed us that FEMA has an important role to play, and there are important changes that need to be made. We need to move upstream and not downstream for solutions. That's why I'm proud to support and co-sponsor H.R. 4669, the FEMA Act of 2025. I want to thank Chairman Graves, the ranking member, for working together in a bipartisan way, introducing this legislation. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I yield back.